Okay, what's the gentleman's name?
I don't know. What's that? My name's David. The name is David.
Okay, and who is David?
I don't know. What's that? I'm a friend of theirs. Yeah, he says he's a friend, but as I said, I've never.
But you don't know who he is?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. We've been covering non-stop the TikTok of the Paul Pelosi hammer attack ever since this story broke on October 22nd, 2022. And now we finally have the evidence bombshell drop. The judge that ordered all of the footage to be released to the media, that footage was released this morning, and now we have the footage of Paul Pelosi's attack, ladies and gentlemen. We will play it for you right now. This is the moment of attack where David DePape swung a hammer at Paul Pelosi. Now, this footage is absolutely gruesome and graphic. I will describe it for you, what's happening here in stunning detail. So we have the police footage, the cops getting out of their car, walking towards the door. There's the door opening. The door definitely opens in a strange way. People are saying, like, who opened the door? It looks very odd. So the door swings open.
How you doing?
Paul Pelosi is in his underwear. Paul Pelosi was allegedly sleeping at the time. And David DePape broke in the home and was standing over him while Paul Pelosi was sleeping. They are struggling over an object that is the hammer. So they're sort of like both hands are locked together, struggling over a hammer.
What's going on?
Hi, how are you? What's going on? So like a relatively cordial conversation. Paul Pelosi has some type of object in his hand here. You can see it is a drinking glass. So Paul Pelosi was allowed to drink or having a drink. The struggle begins to ensue. They're both holding the hammer. They got a flashlight shine on them.
Hi.
Paul Pelosi does not, and this is very important, Paul Pelosi does not declare an emergency, scream, or run away. This isn't any indication of anyone's, necessarily innocence, guilt, or anything like that. It's just what happens in the video. So here's Paul Pelosi cracking a smile, actually, as a struggle ensues for a hammer.
Drop the.
So now the cops say drop the hammer. The cops are aware that there is a weapon, some type of harmful weapon that is involved here.
Hammer.
No. Drop the hammer, and David DePape says no.
Hey. What is going on right now?
I'm not getting an answer on call.
So then what happens is the hammer strikes Paul Pelosi. Both men tumble to the ground. Paul Pelosi received severe injuries. David DePape's pants fall off, and then the cops tackle and apprehend David DePape, Paul Pelosi, in a pool of blood after this video. Ladies and gentlemen, that is again, accurate interaction based on what we know, based on what we have reported about this. Ladies and gentlemen, this video accurately predicted what was in the court documents, what happened on the night of October 22nd, 2002 to 82-year-old Paul Pelosi. Now, what else happened? Well, now we're able to see the actual moment of break-in.
We also have our first look at the video on the attack of Paul Pelosi, husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Look at this. Now, remember I told you that there were going to be things other than the police body cam that would be released. This is the surveillance video outside the home, and that is the suspect, DePape. And you see him, he put some items down, you see him breaking some glass, and the fragments of glass that are breaking now. Emily, talk to me about this as evidence in the case.
Well, so keep in mind that this suspect is facing federal charges and state at the same time, right? In December, he was indicted, penalty 20 years of federal attempted kidnapping of a federal officer, as well as
the house. And you can see David DePape breaking into the home. Here is again the image of Paul Pelosi and David DePape struggling over the hammer. And here's the moment where David DePape swings the hammer at Paul Pelosi. Here is again him breaking into the house with the hammer. David DePape, as we know, is a big-time lefty. Where the hell were the police? This is Capitol Police footage. That's what it's credited as. So where the hell were the Capitol Police when this guy was smashing into the Pelosi household with a hammer? Very loud engagement there. David Pape, according to his next of kin, was a progressive Green Party member, illegal immigrant, nudist, drug abuser. Paul Pelosi called 911. We now have that call. Here is the 911 phone call when David Pape broke into Paul Pelosi's house and then allowed Paul Pelosi to go to the bathroom to do a 911 phone call and then told the 911 operator who he was.
Before
2022.
Oh, I guess I called by mistake. What is this?
This is San Francisco Police. Do you need help?
Oh, well, there's a gentleman here just waiting for my wife to come back. Nancy Pelosi.
223 and
he's just waiting for her to come back because she's not going to be here for a day, so I guess we'll have to wait.
Okay, do you need police, fire, or medical for anything?
8 seconds.
I don't think so.
223 and 58 seconds.
Is the Capitol Police around?
220.
No, this is San
They usually
Francisco.
protect my wife. They're usually here at the house protecting my wife.
No, this is San Francisco Police.
Friday, October.
I understand.
8, 2022.
Okay, well,
0224 and
what do you think?
18 seconds.
Think everything's good? He thinks everything's good. I've got a problem, but he thinks everything's good.
Okay. Call us back if you change your mind.
No. This gentleman just came into the house, and he wants to wait here for my wife to come home. And so, anyway, he told me to put the phone down.
Do you know who the person is?
No, I don't know who he is. He has this. He's telling me not to. He's telling me not to do anything.
What is your address, sir?
26.
225 and 0.
What is your name?
Seconds.
My name is Paul Pelosi.
Friday.
Anyway, this gentleman says that he thinks everything ought to, he told me to put the phone down and just do what he said.
18 seconds.
Okay?
Okay, what's the gentleman's name?
I don't know. What's that?
My name's David.
The name is David.
Okay, and who is David?
I don't know. What's that?
I'm a friend of theirs.
Yeah, he says he's a friend, but as I said, I've never.
But you don't know who he is?
No, ma'am.
48 seconds.
Okay.
He's telling me I'm being very leading, so I got to stop talking to you, okay?
25 and
Okay. You sure I can stay on the phone with you just to make sure everything's okay?
No, he wants me to get the hell off the phone.
0226
Okay.
and 08
Thank you.
seconds.
Okay,
So,
bye.
like, you can tell there why everyone was confused because Paul Pelosi was talking in a very confused manner. This might have just been nerves from Paul Pelosi, but he wasn't really making a lot of sense at the beginning of the call, so much so that the 911 operator was like, I'm going to get off the line now because this doesn't make any sense. Paul Pelosi then says that he has to get off the phone call because David Pape, who hops onto the phone, literally with a 911 operator and says his real name, hi, my name's David, I'm a friend of the Pelosi's. It's confusing, right? It's confusing. Now, this may just be a scared old man in his house. We're not sure. What's going on? We do know that according to the son of David DePape, he says that his dad is not a right-winger. He says his dad is actually a member of the Green Party and that his father came from very abused, this is David DePape's son, his father came from a very abused household. And he's not sure, he's not sure what happened that night. And so now we're finding out and we're able to give more evidence as to what actually occurred. We're able to see the actual attack video. We're able to ask questions about the curious behavior of Paul Pelosi that night. What's going on? We just want the answers here. The district attorney of San Francisco is saying Paul Pelosi is going to have to essentially answer for his peculiar and curious behavior that night.
Fair share of conspiracy theories about what actually happened that night. As part of your investigation, are you able to shed any light as to why Paul Pelosi didn't run out of the house towards police officers when he was able to actually open the door for them when they arrived?
What I'm not able to do is to speculate or try to place my opinions on why someone acted the way they did in any case. All we have is what happened. Everybody reacts to situations differently, and he will one day need to explain, right, to potentially a jury why he did what he did, and what thought process was going on in his mind.
He will someday need to explain to a jury why he did what he did. So you were able to see that after all this time, the reporting on this incident was accurate. You can see it in living color. Paul Pelosi did open the door. Paul Pelosi did not seem like there was an emergency. Paul Pelosi was, I guess, confused at best when he was on the phone with a 911 operator. The reason why the operator dispatch said that there was a friend at the house was because, well, David DePape was on the phone with the 911 operator saying his name and that he was a friend. That's where that comes from. And so why the hell are corporate media reporters getting suspended? Miguel Aguilar gets suspended for reporting accurately what happened to Paul Pelosi that night. It's a great question. Is the cover-up really the real issue here? You remember the Democrats utilized this attack as an object to try and get them elected. They were actively and aggressively attempting to cover up the information of this attack. What had actually happened? What were the facts? Why the heck were reporters, this man, why was he suspended for an accurate report on Paul Pelosi, saying that Paul Pelosi didn't declare an emergency, didn't run out, didn't scream, and was like bewildering and confused to the officers? NBC doesn't want you to watch this clip. Don't worry, we saved it for you.
Officers arrived here at the Pelosi home exactly a week ago today. They initially didn't have any idea exactly what was going on. They knew they had a high priority call on their hand. What was unclear, what was happening inside the property just behind me.
This morning, Paul Pelosi is home, back at the house that became a crime scene a week ago today. NBC News learning new details about the moments police arrived. Sources familiar with what unfolded in the Pelosi residence now revealing when officers responded to the high-priority call, they were seemingly unaware they'd been called to the home of the Speaker of the House. After a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. The 82-year-old did not immediately declare an emergency or try to leave his home, but instead began walking several feet back into the foyer toward the assailant and away from police. It's unclear if the 82-year-old was already injured or what his mental state was, say sources. According to court documents, when the officer asked what was going on, defendant smiled and said everything's good. But instantaneously, a struggle ensued as police clearly saw David DePape strike Paul Pelosi in the head with a hammer. After tackling the suspect, officers rushed to Mr. Pelosi, who was lying in a pool of blood.
100% accurate reporting. 100% accurate. Watch. You can literally see this reporting play out and how accurate it was. There's the door open.
How you doing? What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
Everything's good.
Hi. Drop the hammer.
Nope.
Hey. What is going on right now?
I'm not getting an answer on call.
And then, of course, the extremely graphic part, you're welcome to go find that part on social media. But Paul Pelosi gets hit with a hammer. So why? Why obscure these details? What's wrong with just having the public know about this attack and come to their own conclusions? Why were federal authorities hiding the information of this attack on their own federal documentation of what happened in the attack? I mean, it's caught on camera. Watch.
Do with the moments, seconds really, just before Paul Pelosi was struck in the head with a hammer inside his San Francisco home. Now, there continues to be contradicting accounts of a relatively simple question. Who opened the door that night when San Francisco police arrived to the Pelosi house? Now, the Department of Justice says the 2 officers opened the door. That's according to a federal indictment filed earlier this week.
That's a lie. You can see it in the footage. The officers did not open the door. Did you see a police officer with his hand on the door? There's a body cam. The camera's right here. If you open a door, you'd see it.
But the San Francisco District Attorney's Office, in another court document that was filed earlier this month, said Mr. Pelosi opened the door with his left hand. So the question is, what really happened? According to a source familiar with the investigation who personally watched the police body camera footage from that night, officers knocked on the door of the Pelosi home, then backed away. And the video clearly shows Paul Pelosi open the door with his left hand, just like what was noted in the documents filed by the DA's office. Now, also as written in the DA docs, the source tells us the body cam video shows officers having a brief conversation with Pelosi and David DePape. That's the man accused of breaking into the Pelosi home, before DePape starts beating Pelosi with a hammer. We reached out to the Department of Justice for an explanation on its differing account of this seemingly innocuous issue of who opened the door, but so far we have not heard back.
The reason why was because the Department of Justice needed to make sure that there was a specific narrative that was upheld here. And they couldn't allow for any type of daylight or just simple fog, I suppose, for the curious behavior of Paul Pelosi that night. That's all. We don't want anyone to be ever harmed on the show. We don't want anyone to be hurt. But we do need to have the ability to ask questions, and we must have a shared truth. There must be shared facts. We must be able to know what actually happens inside of these circumstances, because nobody wants to have anyone harmed inside of their home. But if you obscure those facts, if you lie on federal documents, if you can't even trust federal law enforcement to tell the truth, then what the hell's going on here? That's what we've been asking for a long time. Let us know, ladies and gentlemen, if this information that we have presented to you, the body cam footage, the 911 call, and the security camera footage, along with all the other documentation, sort of like puts any conclusion at hand for you in this incident, or does it raise more questions? Does it raise more concerns? We are personally concerned, but we are far more concerned with the hiding and the obscuring and the creation of narratives for our elite and our powerful, because quite frankly, like that is how you actually make situations like this far worse, when you utilize them for political gain or treat them as a political football. It is macabre, it's dark, it's sick, and that's one of the most pernicious things that happened in this incident. We're happy and glad that Paul Pelosi is safe and recovering. He's made public appearances since this attack. And we love Americans. We don't want any American to ever be harmed. We love this country. We want it to be safe and secure. San Francisco is not a safe city. We've been there many times. It's not a safe city. It's a very dark city. It's a very lost city. And if you're living there, you should probably get out, quite frankly. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for today. America's still the best country in the world, even with San Francisco in it. America's worth fighting for. So keep fighting. Keep memeing. Keep criticizing, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll be fighting right alongside with you. My name is Benny Johnson. See ya. Thank you for watching. Our channel is here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. Their tears, they taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, Base Patriots.